Hey small business owners, welcome to Unleashing Video Marketing for Businesses, where we dive deep into the world of video marketing as top experts reveal their secrets and strategies to power up your growth. Ready to elevate your business? Then get set, camera speed, and action. Hello, my friends. Welcome to Unleashing Video Marketing for Businesses by PowerTilt Productions. I'm your host, Frank Battiston, and this is the second episode. We want to bring you a very special guest today. His name is Billy Sanez, and he is the Director of Global Marketing at SpotSee in Dallas, Texas. We have a very long story together. He's one of the marketing directors I've worked for in that MMA company that I talked in the past episode. He has a treasure chest of tips, and I want you to listen to them because it really will give you a very good dive into what it takes to use video properly and effectively in your business. Here we go. Hello, Billy. How are you today? Welcome to our podcast. I'm so excited to have you. ¿Cómo te va todo hoy?
Great, Frank. It's great to hang out with you, virtually, doing a little bit of chat about video and stuff. But it's always great to see your smiling face and talk about fun stuff like we love, like video.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm getting older, though, but I got to do something about it.
Yeah. Un poquito viejo. It's all good.
Well, this is the thing. We discovered that one of the things that business owners really are afraid of is the marketing side. Let's not only talk about video. Video usually is something that is mistaken. Sometimes businesses get very scared because they think it's going to be a very expensive way to market. But I wanted to kind of talk with you so that we can address certain questions that we think are really going to help them. So, but before we start, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, dígame.
But before we start, I want them to know who you are. Tell me a little bit about your career, what you worked in, and tell me a little bit about yourself. Who are you?
So, I've been working in marketing for almost 30 years. I started working marketing in my family business, honestly, because my brother and I were the only ones who spoke English really well. So we started a business here when we moved to the U.S. and we sold flowers. And, my parents were like, oh, gosh, we have to promote this. My dad had actually done advertising in the past. So he's like, listen, we got to do some stuff and I need somebody to help me write a flyer. And so that's how I started when I was 14, right? Being a copywriter to my dad, who was the graphic guy. So he did pretty pictures.
You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. And so, I started like that and out of necessity because we needed to grow our family business. And we grew our family business from a single flower shop to a multi-retail flower group. And it was great, but we did it because we market it, right? Everybody has beautiful flowers. Everybody can make a great arrangement. Actually, my mom can make the best arrangement, and I'm not biased or anything. It's just my mom. But no, yeah, I am a little biased to my mom. But,
we all are about our moms. Yeah.
Yes, but if nobody knows about our moms and how great flowers she can arrange,
exactly,
and the services that we can provide, if nobody tells them that, then nothing happens. Doors just don't open and people just come in. You have to tell them that you're open. So, I've worked in that type of world, no matter whether it was the family flower shop or in Major League Soccer when it started way back then. I worked in ad agencies, serving a lot of clients, anything from AT&T to the United States Marine Corps, and worked in the airline business for a very long time. So, and now I work in a B2B environment, right? I work in a company that does a lot of great things for companies to do shipments, right? But if we don't tell them who we are, that we provide great indicators, that we provide great thermometers so they can keep their, medications or their food transported the right way. If we don't tell them, nobody buys from us.
That's a really good background. An amazing background, because you haven't stayed in one vertical. It has changed a lot and it gives you a lot of experience, I would assume. What do you think about that?
No, I think it does. I think, professionally, I've been in marketing, and actually, it's kind of funny. My dad always asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I said I always want to tell stories. And so he's like, well, you can be a historian, or you can write stories, and he's like, I don't know, what the heck are you gonna do? So I've always told stories, no matter whether it was for the family, or for American Airlines, or for SpotSee, as I do now. But those stories are the stories of the company and the people. So I don't think I've changed what I do. I've changed who I've done it for, right?
Yeah.
And in between all that, we did a little MMA, but that's a
Yeah.
fun couple of years too.
Yeah, that I know. That I know. That's how we got to meet. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that was an awesome, awesome gig, and I got to learn a lot from you and the team. And that's why I wanted to ask you the next question, because I think that's what I discovered as we were in that specific MMA company is, if you could summarize, what essential tools, or platforms would you say that you recommend to businesses that are starting and have a very limited budget?
So, just don't think of like, oh my gosh, I can't do a video, because videos can be easily done on a phone nowadays, right?
Yeah.
Just tell a story of what you're doing. I told a simple story on how we work with thermochromic inks, which sounds very, scientific and stuff like that, out of a simple video on how a cup changes colors when it gets hot, right? And that's thermochromic
Yep.
ink, right, inside of the cup. So sometimes a quick video on how a hot cup of coffee gets filled and changes color um, will make a quick statement of what you do. We've always said that a picture tells 1,000 words. To me, a video can tell 1,000,000 of those words. You just have to find the right ones and create them and not be afraid of it, right? Sometimes it's just spending time
Yeah.
figuring out what to write or what to say, or, hey, just tell your story. Hey, I make great flower arrangements, or I make, indicators that ensure that your coffee is hot enough, or your medication gets there the way it's supposed to be. And it could be just out of a small phone that you could do it, or you can work with a production company that does it right for you, right? There's all levels. I just wouldn't be afraid of it because it's accessible to all of us.
That's awesome. Would you say that it's important to tell that story, but in a way that it is that it engages with the right audience? Because you can tell many stories, but if you're telling the story to the wrong person, they're not going to be engaging. Would you say this is an important element
Right.
in the process?
Yeah, obviously. I mean, it's a story to the right audience, right? Just like any good movie or any good show or any good clip. I mean, there's certain things I actually don't find that I want to know about. I mean, I don't know. I don't like. It's going to sound a little bit odd, but I don't like peaches. Right? Don't tell me a story about like peaches.
That's true. Yeah.
Children think that I'm deathly afraid or allergic to them. I just don't like them, right? So there's certain things valid for, this maybe not an extreme, but are valid for a person at a time. So, for us marketing folks, it's good to get somebody else's perspective and tell me the story on how somebody else does it, or a small business owner on how they do it and how they've done it. Somebody else has done it before. That's rational for them. And it's a little piece of advice, I think, sometimes that we can create with video content. Doesn't have to be an award-winning piece of film. It just has to tell a good story, give some advice, and give some value to somebody else. Whether that value is, hey, this is the way you can do it, or, hey, I had a laugh with that company, maybe I'll go buy what they sell, right? So I think that's really important.
Okay, so there's many different ways to market, right? But specifically, how would you say video marketing could help in terms of strategy? When to use video and when not to use video? I mean, in your experience, that you could give us like a simple example, like when is the right time to use video?
I think the right times to use video is when you're telling a new story. right? I think
Okay.
that's a really good opportunity. So when you have a new product or a new way of doing things, or something new is coming up, right? New doesn't mean like, say, for example, you sell a product for the holidays or something, or you're a company that does air duct cleaning, and air duct cleaning is really popular in the spring and fall, right? Because it's allergy season. It's new every year, and you have two times a year it could be new. So it's a good time right before it's new to tell a story. Like for example, at SpotSee, we actually work with a couple of partners, but we do um, we do thermochromic ink, which is light changing ink on the hockey pucks of every NHL game, right? So every time there's a hockey game playing, there's our product on the ice. You don't know about it, but we actually talk about it right before every playoff starts for the NHL, right? And we work with PPG, which is the company that does the actual paint. We do the technology inside the paint, and then we work and we talk about, hey, this is how it works, and we either create a video, or we'll do public relations, or we'll tell a story on their website. So I think when something is new, it's a really good time to use video, to complement it with a blog, to complement it obviously with social. And video has those legs of living on social media easily and fast.
You see, that was my next question, easy and fast and social. So it's very, in the past episode, I was speaking to the audience that sometimes many of the mistakes that people do with video is that they use video in the wrong category. So it's not the same to make a video. Let's say it's a 5-minute explainer that could be living on the website of that product video, compared to something that you're trying to tell them quickly on social media. Could you tell us, like, why do you think that's definitely, using the wrong video, not the wrong video, but the video, a specific video in the wrong category can be bad?
Yeah, it can be really bad. So I think for social media, it's, they're quick bites. Then you have 30 seconds, sometimes 15 seconds to tell somebody about a really good story, a really good thing that you're doing. I actually, I do a lot of like restoration of stuff as a hobby. I'll clean up an old piece of furniture or some old tools, and it's actually kind of like my hobby. It's my getting away from doing marketing and doing something very manual. But I consume it, and I consume little bits of that on social media and get ideas. And that's how I get ideas. But when I need to know how to strip a piece of wood that is old with a special type of chemical stripper that takes out the paint or the varnish, I need an explainer, right? So to your point is, I think on a website or on YouTube, on a long format of a video, you need an explanation. You're not going to put that on Instagram or on TikTok or on Facebook Reels.
No.
How to assemble a vacuum cleaner. No. But 5 tips on how to quickly vacuum your house before you get to work. That's perfect. How to put that Hoover all together. I don't know. I'm going to go to hoover.com or the Hoover's, YouTube channel. I think that's the right thing in the right place. So I think social is to its point very social, and then websites or maybe long format YouTube, obviously for YouTube and for your website.
Even going further, so nowadays, streaming platforms like Hulu, you have different types of ads, right? So there's social media ads. I know that you at some point have had experience with TV and streaming platform ads. What's the difference between an ad in social media and an ad in these bigger platforms out there?
Yeah. So let's go back to our experience that we had together in MMA, right? So
okay. Yeah.
we told
Great
stories about fighters, right?
Yep.
And whether the story was, hey, these 2 fighters or these 8 fighters are going to fill a card on a Friday night.
Yep.
That would have been a great piece to create a 30-second spot, the traditional commercial for television, even for streaming. and even to make my dogs happy as they're being happy right now.
And it's okay, you know. I mean, even dogs get excited about MMA. You know, I don't blame
Yeah,
you. I don't blame him.
actually,
Yeah.
So the really cool thing about all that is that, oh my gosh,
It's okay. He'll get you a ticket. It's okay. You know, don't worry.
isn't it? The cool thing about that is that you can say, hey, like I was saying, for example, on a 30-second spot that's created to tell
Yep.
you what's all about the fight card that you have that night. You know, you can tell it's the what, where, and when, right? What is who's fighting, you know, at what time and what channel, or where can you buy your tickets, right? Those
Yep.
are really good pieces of content for that medium, for broadcast or for streaming, and which streaming has gotten, you know, very accessible even to small businesses to be able to say, hey, I just want to get to this audience through Hulu or even through audio streaming, right? So that traditional commercial you can create that way, but then also for social media, you have a chance to tell really in-depth stories if you want to, or emotional stories, right? Because you may have just 15 seconds in an Instagram video, but on those 15 seconds, you can tell a story, the good story of the good guy fighting that night, or the female fighter who struggled through life and now she's at the top of her class. Or even with long format that you could tell a mini documentary, right? A 5-minute, really cool story about that. Or heck, you can even create a podcast like this and tell a story, right? So I think it's the information that you put into each one of those pieces that allow it to you. Is, you know, think about the streaming platforms that are more accessible to small and medium-sized businesses. Is not just for the big beer companies and the companies that have multi-million dollars. A lot of other people can use them. It's the what, where, and when. But then social media is for the emotional side, right? To say, hey, this is really cool. You should look at it this way, or this is a really easy way on how to cook this, and this is the pan that I use, right? So you have to think about it. You have to take your time and make a really good plan with somebody who understands, or, you know, even research what works best.
And talking about emotional, in the last episode, I also talked, I mean, as we were watching the Super Bowl, and you know that it's this huge event, you know, I was mesmerized because that is where the most fascinating ads for me, because of storytelling. And I think we do share that passion for storytelling. That's where I'm in shock at the work that these marketing teams do, because they really know how to embed this messaging in this amazing story. And then there was this one about Kia and the EV9. I invite you to see it. I'm not going to tell them again what it is about, but I'll invite you to see it. It's really compelling because it has to do with a child in the ice and how she gets to dance for her grandfather in the middle of a frozen lake, because he's sick and he wasn't able to go to the actual competition, and how the EV9 actually helps charge the lights that the dad puts, and with the speaker and the music. So, but it's less about the product, but how it solves something. So my point being is how emotional marketing, it's such a big way to communicate nowadays. And you were talking how you can do that so well in social media, but in your experience, how can that be way more powerful?
Yeah. So I think the key thing about it is the authenticity of it, right? Can you actually do it, and has it actually happened, or would you be able to replicate it, right? So can you do, you know, can you skate in the middle of a frozen lake and turn your lights on with a Kia? Yes. Do we have parents and grandparents who are sick? Yeah. Do we wish to give them, you know, a fantastic wish? Yes. Those things work really well. Other than that, creating something that's not real will quickly make you look terrible, right? And emotions are not only those things that tug at your heart, like families or like puppies and, you know, kittens and all that stuff. But I think it's also like achievement or recognition. I think one of the things that we did when I was at American when we create a lot of the ads is we put emotion into travel. That was really cool. Sometimes frequent flyers hated to travel, but at the same time loved it. Right. So I think that and
Okay.
that's it's weird, right? But it's true.
I know.
Right. It's a weird phenomenon, but I think it's really cool that the fact that they, and I have it too, right? I love to travel, but I hate being away from home. Right.
Yeah.
So as I always like to say, I
Mm-hmm.
love going everywhere. But my favorite destination is home. Right. And right. Do I get to go to great places for work? Yes. Do I get to go to some places I don't want to go for work? Yeah. Do I get miles for all of that? And do I get to take my family traveling, every couple of years? Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the emotion that we played on with a lot of that content when I worked at American, and even when I did stuff for other travel companies is all of that. But I think it's that type of emotion. It doesn't always have to be, like I said, puppies or grandparents or the love of your life. But it's the emotion of a promise. One of the lines that I love that one of the copywriters wrote when I was at American, it was all about the seat on a flight to your life, and it wasn't just to
Ooh,
get
smooth.
there, right? But very
Yeah.
strong. And your life as a frequent flyer, your life as a business person, your life as a tourist, and attaching that good and bad feeling behind it, because it's an emotional sell sometimes, right? Especially
Yeah.
when think about it or not, air travel is a commodity. American flies there, Delta flies there, United, Southwest, Avelo, Spirit, Alaska, all those fly to most destinations people want to go. You just want to attach yourself to that frequent flyer that travels the most and say, hey, I'll take you there and I understand you because you have feelings.
Yeah. And it makes me think now that it is definitely important. I mean, and they know, and you guys knew back in the day who your target audience is. And in this particular, this is how you know, because you're telling me about all these layers. So connecting to that, small businesses, how do you recommend that they get to research who their particular customer or audiences? What is the best way to start? Because I think this is the part that it's so daunting to them, because they get scared and they think like, oh my God, how am I going to research this? So how would you research that if you're starting?
It's not as challenging as you may think. So
Okay.
Every successful company that I work for has had a product or a service that solves a problem. Just think about it. Whose problem am I solving? Right? So if I do air duct cleaning, and mold remediation, which a lot of small businesses do and very successful at it, who's the homeowner that's going to do that? Right? It's not a renter that's going to pay for it. It's the homeowner that's going to do that. So I think about it that way. How far can you go? Right? Literally driving or with your marketing dollars. And then who is willing to pay for it and has the available income. So I think there's a lot of really good tools out there that you can use. Anything from Google Trends, as people are searching for certain services. There is plenty of research that's available for free from eMarketer that you can see what all those trends are. Sometimes you spend a little bit of money on that research, but there's a lot of research for small businesses that's free. And then, believe it or not, the Census Bureau has a lot of great data, especially for local businesses, like literally the cost of a house right around you, that you can find out, do people have disposable income of that? How many people live in that on average in those blocks that maybe you're targeting if you're a small business and you're providing home services. I think the other thing is, if you have a product, again, figure out, do people really want it and who wants it, right? And just ask also social network, right? Ask your buddies in LinkedIn, ask all your friends on Facebook that you've been keeping up since, high school. hey, I have this product. I have a former classmate from high school. He started his own business. He does a lot of handcrafted work, right? So he'll do specialty frames and specialty gifts. The way he started is literally asking his whole Facebook community, what do you guys need? And use all of us as research. We had a few hundred people, and they'll give you free advice. Oh, yeah, no, it'd be great to have something great for Mother's Day, or hey, I want to do specialized ornaments for Christmas. Can you make me little cute handmade ornaments for Christmas, right? So I think we have a lot of tools around us. We just have to ask and be curious about it, and don't be afraid. What's the worst thing that people can say? No or bug off, right?
Yeah.
And what's the next one, right? But that's also will help you in sales because you are creating your own little community around the people that you know.
And that's very interesting because that's a very economical. I mean, it definitely requires you to invest some time. But again, in life, it's always like that. It is either time or money. It's like a balance, either if you don't have the money, you need to invest the time to do it. So that's a cheaper way to do it, because that was my next question. How can small businesses leverage marketing to compete with other companies that have a bigger budget?
I'll give you an example of somebody who we used to work with, and he's a franchise owner of a mold remediation company. And Lyle and one of his coworkers, they do a video once a week. It's called Two Men in a Truck, or Two Ducks in a Truck.
Nice. I like that.
They talk about their daily work and what they did and what they were able to accomplish. They started posting it on all of their social media networks, and is two guys that work together after work. It might be a really hot day and they were just in an attic working all day, but they talked about how they cleaned a house that had been livable for 3 years. Or they also give advice on, how to grow your own business, right? So they do that and they share. I know Lyle was really worried at the onset of doing all that, but then he just said, forget about it. I'm just going to go do it. And he just uses his phone. Sometimes they're great. Sometimes, they're not so great. But hey, every action is a little bit of work. And the other thing that I would say, especially on that kind of initiative, don't worry about having millions of views. You have to have the right number of views, right? So in advertising, we always talk about reach and repetition, right? So when you have a boatload of money, right?
Yes.
You want to have a lot of reach, and you want to tell them over and over and over and over and over. But nowadays, that you can create small communities, so you have your own communities. You can do your right reach, right? And it could only take one or two views to get the business that you need. Because say, for example, again, you provide a service, a home service, or you have a flower shop, right? No, you don't need to advertise around Valentine's if you're a florist. They're going to find you, right? That's the time of year everybody roses.
To get them, yes, the most.
Right? But when it's the other time, when you're trying to do something, you just have to reach your sales goals. You don't have to, get 1 million or 1,000 views. You have to get the right number of views to meet your goals. So it's a little bit of a paradigm shift that some people may think, especially about marketing, because, oh my gosh, I just want to go viral. I don't want to go viral. It's really nice if you do. I just want to go sales, right? Which is a different way of looking at it. I want to have the right reach to the right people so they buy from me.
I don't know, guys, but I think you just heard an atomic bomb of goodness, like literally dropped on you and blasted us away, So thank you for that, because that was like a treasure chest, what you just said, combined,
Yeah, no, but
That's so awesome. Yeah.
sometimes you gotta look at things a little bit different, right? And
Yeah. Yeah.
and try them out.
When do you know to produce your own video and when to actually hire a video production company? When is the right time for each?
Yeah. So I think it's when it gets in the way,
Mm.
uh, or when you get in the way, right?
Yeah.
So you have to think about the cost benefit. How much does it cost my time of doing things? How much away am I going to be from running the business to make my own stuff? So, what I usually do is I divide what I make in a week by 40, right? Because it's the 40 hours a week. Think about it that we work, but
Yeah.
as small and medium-sized business owners, we never work 40 hours a week. We work 40 hours a week by Tuesday. So think about it that way. Divide what you make by 40, and hey, are you going to pay that much an hour for somebody to help you? Also know that to get better, you need a different perspective. When you tried it and it didn't really work, it's not maybe that video didn't work. It's maybe, hey, you're not the best at it, and that's okay. I'm going to tell you, I'm at certain things in marketing, I'm not the best, but I bring in the best to help me, right? That's why we've worked together. There's some, I know video works, but I'm going to call Frank and Danny and we'll be like, hey guys, listen, A, yes, and B, I don't have time, right? Because I have to do so many other things that are much more beneficial. I think it's also finding somebody that you're comfortable with, that is also the right time, that somebody who's willing to work with you and understands you and takes a little bit of time to not say, well, oh my gosh, you've never done a video. So no. It's the other way. It's like, hey, let me help you do a video. These are a couple that I've done. Let's try one out, see if it works. I think that's when you find somebody also like that, it's the right time, because people like that are sometimes really hard to find and to and to find the real advantage of working together.
You make me think about something. Last question. What are the 4 most powerful tips that you would give to a starting business?
First is create a plan for marketing and go to market. It doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to ensure that you're solving a problem, who you're solving the problem for, right? And then create a list of those types of people, right? So find the problem, who you're going to solve it to, and then start communicating, right? Whether it is through social media, whether it is through mail, whether it's knocking the door, start the communication process, right? And the third one or the fourth one is ensure that you're keeping track of it, right? Of everything that you're doing, right? So you're solving a problem to whom, and you're telling them, hey, I can provide you the solution. Keep a tracker, right? Whether it is Google Analytics, whether it is the clicks that you have to your website, whether it is the sales that you see from a coupon or the sales that you see from a video. Keep track of it, because you want to optimize to what works the best, right? Because you may figure out, hey, coupons are the best thing for me, right? Because it works for my audience that I'm solving the problem for, right? But I measured it.
Yeah.
Or, hey, the video worked really well. So I think that's really key. But if you're not solving a problem, you shouldn't start a business.
Thank you so much for being here with us. I am so happy to have you. Your busy schedule. I know you're a very busy person. So thank you for giving us the time. Everything you said, I'm pretty sure the audience and small business owners and all kind of business owners are going to really savor it, and they're going to use it to make better decisions. So thank you so much.
Okay. You're welcome. All right. The dog's nice. Say bye.
Bye-bye. Bye. Wow, Billy, what a hyper pill of information you've given us here. Thank you so much. It's been such an honor talking to you. And Billy it's amazing. You've always been such a great mentor for us here at Powertail Productions. You're an amazing husband, an amazing father, but overall a very powerful mentor. You're an insane marketing director who knows how to bring the best out of people in your team. So guys, please listen really well to these tips, strategies, and stories he gave out throughout the episode. It's very important to understand that it's not so complicated. I think it's understanding that it's all about the message you tell, who you're telling it to, and the avenue you use. But overall, really being very honest about what you do. So please, stay tuned, subscribe to our channel, and make sure that you don't miss on any episodes so that we can give you the best of marketing experts that we will be talking to very soon. So see you in the next time.